It's the weekend and you have financial questions that need answering. That can only mean one thing. It's time for Jill on Money, the show that takes the mystery out of your finances. Here's your host, Jill Schlesinger.
Welcome to December. It's the Jill on Money Show. We are taking the mystery out of your financial life. We do that one listener at a time. Let's start the program with B, who's on the line from New York. Hello, B. How are you? What can we do for you?
Hi. Thank you so much for taking my call. You guys have been great throughout the pandemic, and I just want to thank you. It was a beacon of light to hear you guys every day and reassure us.
Oh, thank you very much for saying that. We really do appreciate it. So now we've turned from beacon of light to dream crushers. Really, Mark is never the dream crusher. He allows me to take on that role. What is it that we can do for you, and how can we help you out today?
I'm trying to figure out if I can decrease my hours because work is changing dramatically with a new company that took us over. And I'd like to decrease my hours, see if I have enough money in my retirement, talk a little bit about the funds. I have a lot of trouble with picking funds, and I just am clueless about that. And your book is on order because I may have to do a complete reset.
With that said, I hate the new company. I hate the new owners, and I really want to leave. Kind of like that, right?
Yes.
A little bit. Okay. So let's start with your basic facts. How old are you, B?
56.
Are you married, partnered, or single?
Single, no kids.
How much do you earn right now, B?
$96,000.
Are you making contributions to a retirement plan?
Yes. So I'm putting $900 in per paycheck, all Roth.
All Roth. Okay. How's your cash flow based on that?
Bad.
Oh, I don't like bad.
Company, 2 years ago with the old company, I did 50-50. And then when we got with the new company, I said I should just go all Roth. But it's been a little bit hard. I basically take home exactly what I spend, if not spending more.
Okay, what is your actual? Let's talk about that. What are you spending right now?
I spend probably $3,500 to $4,000.
How much money have you saved in retirement? Give us a little breakdown. What do you got in the pre-tax, and then what's in Roth?
401k wise, I have a trouble with Fidelity because they don't break it up according to Roth and pre-tax.
All right. Well, give us the total number. How about that?
The total number for the 401k is $213,000.
And what about non-retirement saving? Have you done some of that as well?
Like Vanguard stuff?
I mean, it could be Vanguard, but a brokerage account, yes.
In Vanguard, I have money markets, IRAs, and I have $423,000.
Wow. So that's Vanguard. And then what about plain old moolah in the bank?
Okay. I have an emergency fund in a credit union with $17,000. And then two CDs with that same credit union for $4,500. 2 I-bonds, so $20,000 in I-bonds. And then my regular savings checking account, I have about $22,000.
All right, that's great. So you got a nice cushion for yourself. This is fantastic. Will you be entitled to any pension benefit in the future?
No, and I hate that word.
You hate pension?
I hate the word because I get so jealous.
Oh, I know. It's tough, but we persist. We will move on. What about your house? Do you rent? Do you own? Where are you?
A co-op.
Okay. And how much would you guess it's worth?
It's probably worth around $200,000, and that's about what I paid.
Is there a mortgage that's outstanding on it?
Yes.
How much?
I can't figure that out, but it said the outstanding principal is $110,000.
That's good. That's all I need. What's the interest rate?
3.25.
You like where you live?
Yes.
Okay, good. So we're going to keep that. Is there anything else that is an asset of yours that is out there that we should know about?
I don't think so. Just the car. That's it.
So let's talk a little bit about this job for a moment. Let's say that you called it quits and you're like, ugh, I hate this new company. Could you get another job at a competitor in the same industry or somewhere else where you could make close to what you're making?
Possibly.
Have you looked or not?
I have not looked. Everything just happened pretty quickly. My original thought process was to stay with the company and try to go to part-time status, which still gives me my benefits, and kind of stick out part-time status while I look for a better job or decide to move.
Are they amenable to that?
I have not approached them. I think they would be desperate and they would be happy.
Oh, I love a desperate employer. One of my favorite kinds. That's good. Okay. So if you were to do part-time, what would that mean in terms of the amount of money you could earn? You'd go from 96 to what?
My guess would be 65 to 70.
And if you did 65 to 70 and we actually stopped your retirement contributions, because I presume, would you be able to contribute to retirement or not?
Probably not, or a much reduced amount.
Do they have a match right now?
What they do is a 4% match per paycheck, and that's going to stop. And then they're going to do some type of once yearly thing, but we all don't really believe that's going to happen.
All right. Well, so then this makes it even easier. So if we could get you at 65 to 70, I know you live in a high tax place. You live in New York. So it's, you got to pay taxes on that. And you stayed at 65 to 70 for a while. So how would you feel if we drained some of this money? Like the CD comes due and you're like, okay, I got to spend it because I got to pay my bills. How would you feel about that?
Okay, except I just don't know how long I'm going to continue to work, I would retire tomorrow if I could, because I'm totally burned out. But I want to have enough to, sustain me.
Well, let me ask you this. What if you could work part-time, either for this company or another company? Maybe what's going to happen is you really have to see what it feels like to work part-time, because that might give you a little bit more longevity. Look, you saved a bunch of money. It's great. You have not saved enough money where I think either of us thinks it's possible or plausible that you just say, I'm done. Because you're young. You're 56. You're going to live for, I hope 40 more years, truly. If you think of that, I think it's okay to say I'm miserable and I need like a year to figure this out. And I'll work part-time for a year, but then I got to figure out what I'm going to do. So what happens in that year is like, let's call it the grand experiment for your reset. In that year, what you're trying to figure out is, can I live at this level? Can I make 65 or 70,000? Can I adjust my spending a little bit and be happy? Because if you could be happy, then, and maybe you might say that that's fine, and I'll do that for 10 more years, and then I'll collect my Social Security and life will be good. That might be good enough for you. Alternatively, you might say in that year, not enough money. I got to go find a full-time job. I'm going to have to figure this out. I really do need to save some more money. And maybe if I did that, I can make different decisions 5 or 7 years from now. But for now, that's the game plan. And I think we don't have the information yet to make that smart decision. We'll get back to B in just a minute. The Jill on Money Show. We'll be right back.
Follow Jill on Twitter and Instagram for more personal finance content. Just use the handle @JillOnMoney. Now, back to the show.
You're back. It's Jill on Money, the program that takes the mystery out of your financial life. We were doing that with B, who's on the line from New York. You don't have to put away all this money right now into retirement because you're in such a rotten situation, like you hate what you do and you don't like the new place. So now you got to relieve the pressure, and you'll do that by saying, I'm going to pull back on my retirement contribution. And for a year, it's okay to do that. It's not okay to do that for 10 years. Now, let me tell you about all the things that could change that would make it doable. You might say like, oh my God, I found another job and I'm making 120,000, not 96. And I'm able to put away more money. And now I see that if I do this for, till I'm 62, I can really crank. Have you looked at your Social Security benefit estimate?
I have a letter that they sent me. And
yeah, they're so nice, those people at ssa.gov.
But it was a long time ago. So 8 years ago, it said at full retirement age, I would make $2,400.
Nah, it's not that. It's more than that.
Yes,
but okay. Let's say it's but let's say even it's 3,300. You know that gives you a good part of your need, right? You don't need a ton of money. You're not telling me that you're spending, $12,000 a month. You're saying net, I need $4,000 a month net, right? And I need to be able to, pay my bills. And I think that you could do that. That's very doable. We need to come up with a good game plan for what happens between now and Social Security. You make it to Social Security, you're on the glide path. Everything's good. How you get through the next 10 years is maybe it's some part-time. Maybe I'll spend down some of my money. Who cares? It's just me. I'll spend it down. Maybe you tighten up the budget a little bit. Or maybe you're like, you know what? I'm going to make more money and give yourself an out. But I think to do a reset properly, you need a year to figure out what it is that you really want. And we don't know that yet. I don't think you do. Do you?
No, I love what I do. I'm just not loving doing it at this company. And I assume
horrible company that we hate.
I assume other companies are running the same way. Healthcare is all going in the same direction.
Yeah, but you know what? Let me speak about that as somebody who is in an industry that's kind of falling apart. Okay. I have certainly felt that many of my colleagues will say to me, oh my God, I work in media, I work in news, it's the worst business, and they do all that. But then you sort of stop for a second and they say, like, I know people who've gone to other places and they're like, oh, actually where I was pretty good. Or people who say, you know what I was able to do? I went from working at a big network and now I work local. Mark and I have a really good friend who is like a huge manager in a big network. And he went and took a job that would, I think, by his peers' estimation would be like he took a seat back. But under the radar, he's actually making more money working for like what seemed like a smaller market, smaller scale than he did when he was working for the big network. So all sorts of things can happen in industries that are declining. Your skill set and who you are might give you opportunities that are broader than you imagine. That's what I can say. And so I'm going to root for you, B. All right, let's talk a little. You said there was something about the investments that you weren't happy about.
I have all the work 401k investments with Fidelity. And as I said, I rolled over other ones in there. I rolled over the previous company, which was half Roth, half traditional, but it refuses to show me in that way.
Mark, is this a possible we have a problem that's all the money was merged together? And in which case, if that's the case, we need you to actually take care of that before you leave this organization. They have to be able to separate out for you the Roth from the pre-tax. Otherwise,
I called and asked, and they did say that it's all separate. It's just that I can't see it.
There's probably a way to see it. You're just not quite sure how to do it. Usually there's a button that says source, something that says source, and that'll allow you to see the differences. Like one will say pre-tax, one will say Roth, but I'm pretty sure it's Fidelity. So I suspect it's separated. You're just having a hard time finding out how to actually view it.
I think that it's worth, calling back and saying to somebody, I'm on the website, right? And I'm looking at this and I'd really like some help with somebody. Like you need tech support more than you need client services. Last thing that I'm going to nudge you about. I know you are single, but your money will go to somebody. So you've named beneficiaries on some of your accounts, right? You have a sibling or nieces or nephews or something like that, or friends.
Sibling and nieces and nephews.
Have you done a will and an estate plan process?
No, I knew you were going to ask. I don't feel like it's as important. I'm actually working on that for my parents because my mother was named as the beneficiary for everything if my father passed away. And now my mother has dementia. So all of that has to be changed. So believe it or not, I've made an appointment and my parents are there right now.
So, okay, since you're doing it with your parents anyway, once you're done with them, do your own. The reason why I say this is not so much that, like, you're right, most of your stuff will pass by contract, your 401k, your Roth 401k, your IRA, but you've got other stuff. You know, you've got this Vanguard account. You've got a bank account. The bank accounts should be labeled as transfer on death, and you name somebody who it transfers to. And you need a document that just says, here's where my stuff goes. And by the way, my sister, my brother is going to be the one who is my healthcare proxy. Like all of the things that you're doing with them, you have to do with yourself. And when you do die intestate, it is a hassle and a half for the people who you leave behind. So once you're done with them, I believe that you will be pinky swearing with me right now, which we will do virtually, that you'll do your own. How's that?
So absolutely. I just wanted to get them set because they have a pretty sizable estate and we all need to have access to it if we have to take care of my mother.
Absolutely. So just because they do have a sizable estate, obviously that would be something else that would change your trajectory of your own retirement depending on what happens, right? So, you know, when we talk about our parents, it's like, well, they could burn through all their cash or you could inherit a bunch of money. You'll know more in the next few years. But in the meantime, let's take control of your own reset and get you the information you need to make a better decision, okay? Anything else that we can do for you?
To go over some of the funds I've picked, because that's where I get confused. And when I call these companies, they have somebody who's like 23 years old giving me advice and I don't feel real confident about it.
Okay, let's go.
So Fidelity, I picked the Fidelity 500 index, the Contra fund, the Index 2035 fund, and the US bond index. And then I did 25% in each.
I think that what you either have to do is choose the target date fund, that 2035 fund, or just reallocate to 3 funds. And there's, you know, the Contra fund, it is a good fund, but it's like if you're going to use a stock index fund, I think Mark and I come to this like place of maybe there's like 4 funds you use. An extended market index, some money in an international index, then some money in a bond index. It's all very easy from there. I think that's kind of where we want to go.
So the U.S. bond index could stay as my fund? Okay.
I mean, I could make this really easy for you. I could say, let's do 3 funds if you really wanted to. You could say, you know, like 40% in the bond index, 50% in a U.S. index, and 10% in a international index. That's it. And if you want to get cute, you could put a little bit, like a few percentage points in a commodities index. You could put a few percentage points in a bond, international bond index. That's it. It's very boring and it works. So just think allocation is broad, an index fund is easy. That's all you got to do. And you don't touch it and get ready to do your 1 year experimental plan for your reset.
Yes, I'm on the way.
If you've got a financial question, just go to JillOnMoney.com and click the Contact Us button. We'll get your note. We'll be right back.
Welcome back to Jill on Money, where Jill Schlesinger takes the mystery out of your finances.
You're back. It's Jill on Money. This is the program that helps take the mystery out of your financial life, helps make you make better financial decisions. And you know, one way that you can make a better financial decision is to use the calendar to your advantage. And that is why I encourage you to join us for our webinar this week. December 6th, it's just a few days away. We are going to be doing some tax and financial planning for the year end with a special guest, Dan Forbes. He's a certified financial planner. He owns his own financial planning firm in New England. He is the guy who I trained personally when he got into this business. I love him. But the only way you can join us for the webinar is to join the Jill on Money Live subscription service for $35 a year. And maybe that's going to change, so you might want to sneak in. For $35 right now, you get the quarterly live webinars and a lot of special bonus content. So check that out on our website at jillonmoney.com. It's the live subscription service. Okay, right now, let's talk to Mike, who's on the line from Pennsylvania. Hi, Mike. How are you?
I'm doing great. How are you?
Fantastic. What can we do for you today?
Well, we have a situation that we've been in our house for 11 years. We previously paid cash for a lot of our projects and enhancements that we'd done to the house. But we saved up some money during COVID. I think we got a little carried away with the savings that we were able to experience during COVID. We also changed jobs, so we shifted things in a rollover situation to an IRA. But long story short, we established an IRA. We had a brokerage account from savings. And then we decided to do some home improvement projects. But because we got so carried away with the savings side of things, we opened a HELOC at the end of last year. But now the HELOC prices have obviously gone up considerably this year. And so we're looking about how we can maybe pay that down, knowing that we sort of have that in hand. The IRA that we established has kind of slid over time, working with a planner. And also our brokerage account has slid a bit. So I'm trying to see, does it make sense to maybe use some of that money to offset the HELOC at this point?
All right, let's get some details here. Mike, how old are you?
40 years old.
Okay, and you're married?
I am.
And how old is your spouse?
39.
Okay. Are you both working?
We are.
How much you guys earn together?
$317.
Wow. I like the detail on the 17. And you're putting money into retirement accounts through work?
We are. We both have 401ks.
Okay. How much money?
We maximize those.
Oh, great. How much money do you have in your 401ks right now?
I have $122,000. My wife has $162,000 plus a smaller one that we haven't rolled over yet of $17,000.
And you also have an IRA rollover, right?
That's right. And that is currently at $153,000.
And is this all pre-tax or is this also Roth?
I would say it's majority pre-tax. We started doing Roth split about 3 years ago.
Okay, good. All right. You got some kids?
We do.
What do you got?
We have a 13-year-old and a 9-year-old.
Okay. And are they in public or private school?
Public school, and will be throughout.
All right. And college, too. Since you're in PA, we are Penn State or something like that? Or is that what you say?
That's what they say. Okay. I'm not a Penn Stater, but I think that's to be determined.
Okay. Do you have 529 accounts that you've established for them yet?
We do. We have collectively $54,000 in the 529.
How much do you think your house is worth?
Last I checked, it was about $475,000.
Okay. And you have a mortgage on the house?
We do.
What's the mortgage right now, the outstanding balance?
Outstanding balance is $190,000.
Okay. And what's the interest rate on that?
3.8.
Now, the home equity line of credit, what is outstanding on that line right now? What have you borrowed?
We've borrowed $22,000 this year. We have $17,000 outstanding.
Okay.
The little conundrum here is we found out we made some sort of improvement to our basement, so I'm expecting that to go up another 8 to 10. So that I'm calling it 28,000.
Let's call it 30.
Okay.
What's the interest rate on the HELOC?
Right now it's 7.75.
Now let's talk about that savings account. Well, tell me all about that COVID savings that built up. What do you have?
So we had $25,000 that we put into the brokerage. Currently it stands at $21,500.
Okay. And that's just all in brokerage, right? Like post-tax brokerage. And what about an emergency reserve fund?
We have $50,000 in cash and an $11,000 I bond.
This may freak you out. I don't know if it will or will not. I'm going to feel great about it. So if we sold everything out right now, you would have that nice $3,500 of losses. of which you could take $3,000 against your ordinary income and you'd carry forward $500 to next year. But unless there's something else out there where you have a gain that I'm not seeing yet.
I don't think so.
Okay, good. Will it bum you out to take that loss? Because it's going to be it's going to be helpful.
No, because I think the issue is the HELOC was a risk for us because we don't like having debt.
Okay.
And I think, about a year in, we're like, we still don't like having debt.
Still don't like that. Still, not liking the debt.
And we see these numbers sliding, right? We see our savings sliding. So we feel like maybe we could solve a problem.
I think we can. Any other assets anywhere else that is floating around that we should know about?
No, I think we've covered it all.
Okay, great. Do you guys have life insurance?
We do.
And you have wills done?
Soon.
Oh, brother. I'm going to beat you up on that, but hold on. Let's do this first. Okay. Number one, first and foremost, sell the brokerage account. Have your records. Make sure you know what your cost basis is and what you're selling for, and you will be able to claim $3,000 of losses against your ordinary income this year for 2023. Okay?
Yes.
Easy. Just shake it off. Don't worry about it. Who cares? Done.
Okay.
Take the proceeds. Pay off your $17,000.
Got it.
Immediately. Now, you're going to add whatever's left over out of the 17. So you'll have a few thousand, $3,000, $4,000. Pop it into your emergency reserve fund.
Okay.
Okay. Now you're going to have, let's call it 53 in the emergency reserve fund. What's your monthly spend usually?
Say about 8,000.
How's your cash flow in general? Like if I look at your normal monthly spend and I look at everything going on, are you feeling comfortable? Because I know you're both putting a lot of money away into retirement. Do you feel comfortable with where you are right now?
I think it ebbs and flows, but it's somewhere between 1,500 and close to 2,000.
Okay.
So I feel like it's a hair tight, but I think we're okay.
We'll get back to Mike in just a moment. If you've got a financial question, just go to JillOnMoney.com and click Contact Us. We'll be right back.
.401ks, IRAs, refinancing, she covers it all. Back to Jill on Money with Jill Schlesinger.
You're back. It's Jill on Money. And as we come into the end of the year, you might have a lot of questions. Maybe you're trying to figure out how to rebalance. Maybe you're thinking about tax loss harvesting. Maybe you're thinking about the best way to give to charities. Any of those issues, they are things that we deal with all the time. That is what we love to do. Mark and I are both certified financial planners. So if you have a question, it doesn't just have to be a year-end one. Maybe it's a look ahead to the 2024 questions you might have. We'd love to get your note. Just go to JillOnMoney.com, JillOnMoney.com, and click the Contact Us button. When that form pops up, you complete it. And after completing the form, at the end of it, it says, would you like to join us on the program live? And if you are willing to do that, the experience is so much richer. I really encourage you to do so. Check the box. Mark does everything else because he is the best executive producer in the whole wide world. Right now, let's get back to Mike, who's on the line from Pennsylvania. Are you putting money into the 529s on an ongoing basis, or is it just like, oh, I got a bonus and I put money in?
No, we are putting it in on a regular basis. I think we're putting in like 800, sort of split heavier towards the child that's older, but it's about 800 a month.
Okay. And when do you have to spend this extra 10 grand or 12 grand that you're going to have to spend for the basement?
Probably by the end of the year.
How do you feel about taking the extra money that you need, this 10 or 12, and just take it out of your emergency reserve fund? Do you feel okay about that?
Yeah, we could.
Because what I would say to you is the $800 a month that you're putting into the 529s, you could just sort of stop that for a few months, rebuild your emergency reserve. It sounds like 50 is probably the right number for you. You feel comfortable with that number, right?
Yes.
I mean, you do have the I bond. You have 60 right now. You can just pull back a little bit on your savings, whether it's the 401k or the 529, rebuild till you get that 50,000. and get this project done, stop paying the high interest, and we're good. We're totally good.
Okay, I like it. I think we were so dead set on being savers that I think we maybe miscalculated this one, and now we don't like where we are. We like where we were a year ago. We don't like where we are now.
All right. Well, we're going to make you whole. You're going to be in great shape. It's fine. Now, the IRA rollover, the 153 grand, is that yours, hers, or a little bit of both?
That's mine. I changed jobs right before the pandemic, and so rolled that over. It was at 192,000, but now it's at 153.
Oof. Did you buy a bunch of bonds with this rollover?
Well, I worked with a planner and sort of trusted them. I think they basically went through growth-oriented stocks, I believe, but I don't know. It's just I don't like where we're headed, and I feel like I've waited 2 years, haven't seen any performance from it, and feel like maybe I want to go in a different direction.
You could just roll it back into your retirement account currently. You feel like, let's just make it easy and, have a growth-oriented portfolio because I'm 40 years old and I don't have to worry about it. It's all in one place. That's perfectly reasonable. I mean, listen, to be an investor over the last 2 years, not been great, to be honest,
sure.
Right? 22 stunk. 23 is okay if you own some stocks, but if you don't own large cap stocks or in a large cap index, I heard this wild stat the other day on my friends at the Compound and Friends, which is another podcast, where 490 of the 500 S&P 500 stocks have basically lost money in 2023. So unless you own the top 10 or you own the index, you have missed out on whatever gains have been accruing this year. So it's one of the reasons I love indexing, because I don't have to think about what are the best ones or the worst ones. I just own it. But, stocks are up, but not by up as much as they were earlier this year. Bonds are down. It's just been a rough time to be an investor. So, if you don't want to invest with this planner and you've lost confidence, you can do it yourself, but just know that it's probably not the advisor's fault entirely. It could just be that timing wise, you entered the market at a lousy time. If you're going to do it yourself, don't go to cash. Just get that money working for you and leave it alone and it'll keep going, or put it into your current retirement account. Same thing. Now, can I ask you, do you have through your organization a way to choose a benefit where you could do estate planning for you or your wife's employment? Do they have that as a benefit?
My wife does, yes, and we're going to jump on that.
Hooray! Okay.
I have a reminder in my phone that reminds me every Saturday morning to take care of that, and I just keep delaying it.
Oh my God! Why? Are you not?
Well, now I talk to you, I won't do that.
Are you just not going to die? That's the deal.
Yeah, I mean, let's hope so.
I mean, not soon, but you do have 2 kids. Let's sign up for that. So it's open enrollment. Hopefully, sign up for that. Just do it. It's very easy. You don't have a complicated life.
But we'll take care of it.
All right. Let's do it. Let's pinky.
No more snooze button.
No more snooze button. Just do it. Jill says. Any other questions for us?
No. Well, once I sort of take care of these, paying these things off, what do you think my next step should be to build back?
So then I think what you do is you put the money back, you're splitting the money between the Roth and the traditional now. Build back your savings to the place where you feel comfortable. You are then redirecting and making sure you continue to put money into the 529s. And then you can just slowly but surely, wherever you want to, you can just start a brokerage account. Very boring. Just start it nice and easy. You know what? I'll put some money in a stock index fund and maybe I would throw a bond index in there and a little international, and that's it. And chill out. You're good. You're on track.
I like it.
Everything is good. If you would like to come and join us on the program, we would love to chat with you. Rates are rising. When are they going down? We don't know. We'll help you prepare a strategy. JillOnMoney.com. We'll be right back. You're back. It's Jill on Money. And as always, at the end of every hour, we like to try to take an email. This one is from Lena, who writes, Could you provide clarity on the difference between bonds and notes? What are the cost benefits of each? As well as guidance on how you actually create a bond ladder. This is a little bit of sort of in the weeds stuff, but I love it. So there are 3 different types of U.S. debt or fixed income securities. They are treasury bonds, notes, and bills. So when you look at all of these things, just remember this is money that you are lending to the U.S. government, and they have to pay it back, and they pay it back with interest. So if you look at the real difference is that it has to do with the length till the note, the loan, matures. Okay, so treasury bills, they mature in less than 1 year. Now, treasury notes usually fall into 2 to 5 years, and treasury bonds, it's 20 or 30 years. Now, if you want to buy any of these instruments, the easiest way to do that is to go to treasurydirect.gov. Very easy to do. When you think about a bond ladder or a CD ladder, now that's just staggering how you purchase your securities. So a ladder might be thinking about this. You go up 1, you say, oh, okay, I want to buy a bill that is 6 months, then 12 months, then 18 months, then 24 months. All of this is to say it's very easy to do. Takes a little bit of work just to make sure you keep track of everything. But now that you can do everything at Treasury Direct, it's so easy. And in some respects, a lot easier than trying to manage this all doing the same thing with CDs because it's just residing in one place, treasurydirect.gov. Okay, I hope that helps. If you need more assistance or if you need to know more about bonds in general or fixed income, give us a holler. Go to JillOnMoney.com, click the Contact Us button. Let us know if you want to come on the air. Mark does everything else. We've got so much more ahead of us. Jill on Money will be right back.
It's the weekend, and that can only mean one thing. You're listening to Jill on Money, the show that takes the mystery out of your finances. Here's your host, Jill Schlesinger.
Welcome back. It's hour number 2 of the Jill on Money show, and we are here trying to help you make better financial decisions. Not the best. Better. Better's good. I like better. We've got a whole bunch of ways to help you out. Now, the easiest and the most direct way to get specific advice for you is to go to our website, JillOnMoney.com. When you're there, you'll see in the top right-hand corner a Contact Us button. When you click on that button, you complete a form. That's the email that we receive from you. And if you want to appear on the show with us, just check that box. Mark does everything else. But there is so much more on the website. We've got content galore. I've got a blog section. That's really a way for me to get my thoughts together. Usually happens over the weekend or a couple times during the week, and just try to write about what's going on in the moment. There is also a link to our other programs, our podcasts. There is a link to videos where I've done a bunch of stuff for CBS News, and there is a resources section. While you are on the website, you will also see the opportunity to sign up for the free weekly newsletter. I think this is a great way for you to kind of prepare for the weekend show. Comes out every Friday, and Mark does a great job with it. And what else do we have? Oh, we've got a link to my book, The Great Money Reset. And of course, you can subscribe to the Jill on Money live service. Okay, check it all out at JillOnMoney.com. Right now, let's do an email. This is from Anonymous. Such a common name. Wow. Okay. Hi, Jill. I have a question which so many people have. From an old job at an old school media company, my husband has a small pension. He's 56. And the offer is a $50,000 lump sum payment versus a $566 a month pension benefit, which would begin at age 65. We have to make this decision, shortly. I thought that taking the monthly option would be safer, but being a media company, could we guarantee that they'll be around in 30 years? I would say no. I might agree with that, actually. Okay, if we put $50,000 in an IRA and choose Vanguard index funds, would that be a better option? Is there a standard formula for this kind of thing? Mark, when I ask you these pension questions, do you have a standard website or app that you use for a pension determination?
I mean, there's calculators online. She can put this into an online calculator and it'll spit out various scenarios.
Well, let me tell you a little bit more about Anonymous. They're going to get the maximum Social Security, about $4,000 each. Husband will have $2,100 a month in pension from another company that will begin at age 60. I will have $1,000 monthly pension. 401ks, little over $1 million. Roth, $30,000. Brokerage, $80,000. You know what, Anonymous? I'm going to take the lump sum. I really will. It's not enough money that even if the math doesn't work, the risk of being in a company that might just, it's not that they're going to collapse the program, but that the program could get worse over time. So I'm going to pick the lump sum. I say yes. Mark, do you agree with that?
Yeah, especially if, like she says, the company's on, not the most stable ground in the world. Plus, they're going to have $3,000 a month already in pension income.
I mean, it's a lot. Go for it, Anonymous. Well done. Congratulations. All right. Brian's 29 years old, and he says, I'm thinking about investing/trading at home as a second job. Do you have any advice on how and where to start? For example, what kind of research should I be doing? How much money should I start investing with? Well, Brian, let me give you the most important fact that I can state clearly. I don't think this is a second job. Do you want to start investing and trading as like an avocation? Let's see if you're any good at it first. So let's take 5% of your investable assets. So if you have $100,000, right, you can take $5,000 and begin the process of educating yourself. It starts with just reading financial media like Bloomberg or Wall Street Journal or Financial Times. And you can go deeper by going into next level stuff, which is, let me look at some research that's out there. There's so much information, but I'm wondering, why are we thinking about this? I think this is really mostly about you having an avocation, not that you really want a second job, but I'd love to know more about you. I wouldn't do a Robinhood app. I wouldn't do anything like that. I really want to know more about you. And trading, this is not a hobby in some respects. Think of it more like you're going to the casino and you want to learn you're going to teach yourself how to play craps. Figure out the amount of money you can lose and let's start from there. But I don't even think you should do it. But I don't want to discourage people from trading per se, since that is a business that I'm familiar with and I grew up in that business, but it is a terrible way to spend time when you're losing money. It is awfully fun when you're making money. When it's all going against you, you're not going to feel good. Do you have anything to add to that, trader, Mark Talercio?
No, I was just wondering if at his first job, he's, doing what he should be doing with the retirement account and all that stuff.
I hope that you have your 6 to 12 months of your emergency reserve. You've paid down all of your debt and you're maxing out your retirement account, and not just to the match, maxing out. So if you're 29 years old and you're putting away $22,500 into that retirement account, great. Let's talk about your investing. Otherwise, I don't know. Oh boy, we're going to start getting a lot of these questions. This is the subject. Bond index fund. When will it improve? Sad face. Brandon says, I've had shares of a bond index fund for almost 4 years. I started in February in 2020 with a few $1,000s invested. I put another large chunk in since then, plus quarterly investments. And the fund has done terribly. Yes, I know, because my understanding was that bonds are safe investment. A bond index might average 1 to 2% return annually, or at least break even. I bought at the wrong time. I don't want to sell at a loss, even if markets improve and I get back to something close to 1 to 2% return annually. Does this mean it could be 8 to 10 years before I even get back to my principal that I've invested in the fund, assuming I don't continue to invest? Is that how the math works? Am I missing something? Mark, what should we tell Brandon about the losses in his bond fund? Because I think Brandon is asking a question that everybody's asking.
It's not pretty if you own bond funds right now.
No, I mean, you are reinvesting your shares at lower levels. And presumably, The last 2 years have been crap. They're just crap. But it's one of the things that I think is like a big advantage of buying an individual bond because yes, the value fluctuates, but when the bond is redeemed, you get all your money back no matter what. It's tough for me to give you the advice without knowing what else is in here. Let me ask you this. If this, let's presume, I don't know if this is in a retirement account or a non-retirement account. If it's a non-retirement account, could there be a case for selling it, taking a loss, taking the money out and buying a 10-year treasury? And even maybe that's just, maybe an individual bond would be better for you emotionally to absorb losses. I think you all are going to feel a lot better after our guest, Kathy Jones from Charles Schwab, comes back on the air and talks us through the bond market. She did a good job last year, and she was kind of right last year because things like they were rotten, but it kind of improved between the time she was on and the end of the year. But here we are all over again. So let's defer to the expert. We'll get back to the Jill on Money show in just a minute. If you've got a question, go to JillOnMoney.com and click the Contact Us button.
Follow Jill on Twitter and Instagram for more personal finance content. Just use the handle @JillOnMoney. Now, back to the show.
You're back. It's Jill on Money, the program that's trying to help you make better financial decisions. If you've got a question, just go to our website, JillOnMoney.com, click the Contact Us button, and we will get your note. Let's do an email. This is from Bobby. By the way, if you want to be anonymous, just make sure you put that at the top, because sometimes I read the whole thing and I realize, whoops. All right. Bobby says, all through my 50s, I maxed out my pre-tax 401k contributions, including the match. Now that I'm 61 and checking into my eventual Social Security amounts, it occurred to me that those pre-tax deductions might have been lowering my salary of record from which the government calculates the monthly amount of my Social Security payments in the future. When I Googled the question, here's the question it gave, but is it true? Here's the question. So Googled, it says, quote, pre-tax deductions reduce the salary used to calculate your Social Security benefit at retirement. The impact on your Social Security, however, is typically minor. Most of the time, the money you save through pre-tax deductions outweighs the benefit gained by waiving the deduction. So here comes Bobby. OMG, another way in which I screwed myself for retirement. Is this true? Can I just redo middle age? Okay, first let me start with the last question. You can't just redo middle age. It depends how much money you make, okay? Because if you are already above the Social Security wage base in a lot of your peak earning years, then it really has kind of zero impact. So what's the Social Security wage base? That is some level of money that you earn, okay? After which, that if you reach that level, you stop having Social Security tax on the amount over the Social Security wage base. So, for example, this year, 2023, the Social Security wage base is $160,200. And then for next year, it's going to be $168,600. But if you go back in time, which is kind of interesting to consider, it kind of depends. Like if you're in your 60s, you go back and you say like, did you screw yourself in the 90s? Well, I don't know. Were you making more than 60 or 70 grand a year? Because if so, then no. And maybe you're making yourself nutty for no reason. The answer is it's true, but in many cases, it has zero bearing, let alone a little bearing. But I would like to know what else you think you've screwed up. I bet you're fine. This is from Wendell, and here is what Wendell has to say. I'm 60. My wife is 55. She is disabled and on Social Security, meaning she receives Social Security disability insurance. And Wendell still works. He earns $150,000 a year. Her Social Security is paying about $13,000 annually, and she has Medicare A and B, though I cover her on my work insurance as well. Okay. We have 2 children who are married and doing well. Hooray. We owe for nothing. We live in a rural area. That word is very hard for me. Mark, I need a better pronounce. Rural. Don't I sound like I'm just kind of like rolling back into my throat? We live in a rural area in the South. We live in a bucolic setting in the South where living expenses are fairly cheap, but we do have a small state income tax. It's less than 5%. Here's the situation. Their home is fully paid for. It's worth $380,000. They plan to stay in the home. They have 3 autos. One is brand new, one nearly new, and an older vehicle that's in great shape. So we're good on transportation for a while. Here are the investments. Brokerage account, $193,000. Wife's traditional IRA, $271,000. Traditional IRA for him, $385,000. A small Roth for him, and a big 401k for him, $610,000. Cash in the bank is $14,000. Okay, they have a high tolerance for risk. They have a lot of stock positions. Okay. So they estimate that their combined Social Security will be $43,000 a year. They've got current living expenses at $75,000, but they think they should add an extra $25,000 or so for other stuff. So $100,000, they've got 43 coming in. All right. Oh, this is a bummer. My job will be ending soon due to the business being sold off in pieces after the owner, who is currently 89, passes away. Oh, brother. Okay. I feel like I will be able to find another job. It may be at a lower annual salary, just may be able to meet our expenses. That's not a bad thing. I hope I'm wrong, but I do not think I will be able to save much more than what I've already saved, which has me somewhat concerned. I'm just looking at this. Okay. My job is stressful and I can't keep up the current pace, so maybe it's good to have a less stressful job at some point. I plan to retire at 65 when I qualify for Medicare. We plan to spend mostly cash in the first few years in retirement, so we should be able to buy some supplemental insurance for my wife fairly cheaply. So he wants to know, is the investment allocation too aggressive? Your brokerage account, you've got half of it in a treasury fund, the other half in the S&P 500. That seems good, but I think just maybe put some of the traditional IRA funds, maybe in some 10 years, and maybe in the 401k, you start to peel off and see if there's some fixed investment that's amenable to you. And otherwise, I think you're good. I mean, if you're willing to earn enough money to pay your bills, and that actually ends up being a positive for you because you can kind of slow down, I think you can do it. But you're in good shape, and I think that it'll make sense for you to kind of peel back the risk slowly. Here's another market question. This is from Beverly. She is married. She's 69. Her husband's 68. Grown kid. Own home, no mortgage. It's worth $850,000, no car payments, $273,000 in cash, high yield savings, monthly income, $4,200 a month for between, which is pension and Social Security for her, then $1,400 a month for him. She doesn't say how much they need to live on, but it sounds like that's probably that looks about right. It's the same question, really. She's got a bunch of money in stock investments. What should she do? Listen, gang, if you've pressed the metal on your stock positions, perhaps it is time, considering the bond market has gotten crushed, to roll some of that money out into the bond market. And you don't have to do it all at once. Be careful, of course, trying to do this more in a retirement account than in a taxable account makes more sense. So I do think that people are starting to take a look at the bond market because it has gotten hit so hard, but also because they're a little scared of the stock market, which is good. You should be scared. It's scary. It is truly scary. All right. This is a question about a 401k versus a Roth. And Gary writes, I'm 65 and I will work for at least another year, maybe longer. We currently have our investments managed by a fiduciary with a large organization. I'm pleased with the management. So he and his wife have saved for retirement. They've got $813,000 IRA, $211,000 in a Roth, $137,000 in a 401k, $100,000 in a brokerage. Everyone's got a house that's paid off, Mark. Amazing. Small pension, $400 a month. They live comfortably. He earns about 150 grand a year. Question. Should I max out my 401k and ignore the Roth? Or should I meet the match of my employer with a 401k and then put the rest in the Roth? He can invest about 25 grand in next year. The 401k is doing okay. The options are kind of limited. The nice thing is that it is convenient. I don't need to do anything. The funds get invested and managed. I currently have my advisor managing my retirement investments at a risk level of about 6 on a scale of 10. I would just put it up to the mat. If it's just easy, do it. You know what? Really, who cares? If it's for one more year, we're talking about literally one more year. But if you don't mind the bother of it, then put in up to the match and then put money into a Roth and put money into the brokerage and spread it out. If you have a question and you'd like some guidance, some advice, you want just another set of ears and eyes on your situation, just go to our website, JillOnMoney.com, JillOnMoney.com. Click the Contact Us button. When you get the form, tell us what's going on. And of course, if you want to appear on the program, then Mark does everything else. All you have to do is check the box. JillOnMoney.com, that is your content hub. Jill on Money, the radio show. We'll be right back.
Welcome back to Jill on Money, where Jill Schlesinger takes the mystery out of your finances.
You're back. It's Jill on Money, the show that's trying to help you make better financial decisions. And by the way, one way that we can help you out right now, this time of year, is to get you ready for year-end tax and financial planning. And if you want a little bit of a nudge, I've got a great idea. Join the Jill on Money Live community. For $35, you will have access to 4 quarterly live webinars. The next one is just days away on December 6th, 7 p.m. Eastern Time. We will be joined by, I would dare to say my protege, but he's not really. Guy I trained, Dan Forbes. He's a certified financial planner. He owns his own big financial planning firm in New England. If you would like to join, go to JillOnMoney.com and click on the Jill on Money Live link so you can fork over your $35 and be ready to join us for that really important webinar of year-end tax and financial planning. Right now, let's get to listener Michelle, who's on the line from New York. And Michelle, I understand that Mark kind of blew you off. You wrote emails, he ignored you. Is that what happened?
I'd like to think maybe they went to the junk folder by accident or something, because I know Mark wouldn't do that.
He wouldn't do it on purpose, but he is inundated by emails that I don't even look at anymore. So I used to go and look at our inbox, and then it made me so tense that I decided, forget it. I'm not doing this. How can we help you, Michelle?
Yeah. Hi. I had kind of a question around the way that I'm saving for retirement.
Okay.
I think I'm doing a pretty good job, but I'm wondering if I would benefit from changing where I'm putting the funds that I'm saving for myself and my husband.
Okay.
So currently I'm in my early 50s, I'll say, and I have about $1 million, a little over $1 million in my 401k with my company that I've been with for my whole career. But it's almost all pre-tax. I just started doing Roth in the last year or so. I max out, including the catch-up, every year now. And I put 50% into traditional and 50% into Roth only for cash flow purposes. I just can't quite do all Roth right now.
Michelle, how much do you earn?
About $200,000.
Wow. That's a big number. Good for you. You said you're married. So how much does your husband earn?
About 60.
And is he also contributing to a retirement account?
He is, but he's a teacher, so he'll get a pension, which I know you love, and I do too.
I love you, honey, mostly for your pension, but also for being a great partner.
Yeah.
So first, let me just ask you, does he have money in a 403B?
He does. He's got about $180K.
How old is he?
He's 54.
And how much longer will he be working? Ideally.
He's only working one more year. He's going to retire right at 55, but he has a couple of side jobs that he'll keep doing. So I think his income will stay probably about the same.
What's the pension amount? Because it's like he's got 55 and 30 years in. He's part of the New York State pension system.
Yep, he is. But unfortunately, because of a divorce a few years ago, this is our second marriage, he's going to, for the first couple of years, have to share that pension. So I'm only counting on like $2,500 a month.
For the first few years, and then when does it turn back into 100% his?
I think about 3 years into retirement.
At 58, it's $5,000 a month.
That's my guess.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, good. How long do you want to keep working?
I want to work at least till 62 or 63. I can't even imagine not working right now for quite a while.
Mm. You know, Mark says to me the other day, I said, something good was happening. And I said, oh, that'll be good. It'll allow me to stop working. He said to me, literally, he said, you would know what to do with yourself if you stopped working.
That's how
and by the way, I think I would know exactly what to do with myself. Now I'm starting to feel like, yeah, I got a lot of things to do, but I'm not retiring. So Michelle, you have kids?
Yes, I have two.
2 kids. Are they grown? Where are they?
Yeah, they're both out of the house. I'd say the girl is fully launched and the boy is not quite fully launched.
How much do you have to spend money out of your cash flow for your son or not?
Yeah, I'd say probably between $500 and $1,000 a month right now. He's got a health issue he's going through too, so I'm cutting him some slack there. Yeah.
All right, we'll cut him some slack till that's over with. Now, besides the $1 million in your 401k, the $180 in your husband's 403b, what other money have you saved up?
I have a brokerage account. It's only got about $55K right now, and that's kind of one big part of my question. Do you want me to just get right into that now?
Do it.
Okay.
Rock and roll.
All right. So part of me is thinking, I have all of this pre-tax money and, roughly, I'm an engineer by trade. Roughly, I know in like 7 to 10 years, that should double if you consider the market will perform as it usually does. So I'm going to have a lot of money in pre-tax. I'm wondering if it would be better for me to start doing something where I just do Roth 401k up to my 6% match that I get with my employer, and then start kind of cramming the rest of it into the brokerage account to build that up. I know I've got a ways before I want to retire, but I was just wondering if you thought that would be a better strategy, and also whether you think I'm kind of on track for retirement in 8 to 10 years.
How much money do you guys need? Again, let's be sober in our estimate. So, right now, let's presume that you keep helping out your son for a little bit, maybe not $1,000 a month, $500, but how much money do you think you need to live on? What are your real expenses?
We spend about $10,000 a month. That's not, we don't need to spend $10,000 a month, but that's kind of what we like for our lifestyle.
Who is that in the background? I love that.
I have 2 fur babies and I have my office door closed, but I should send you their pictures because we have 2 golden retrievers and they're pretty awesome.
Oh my gosh, you got to let them in. Let's be clear though, that if I look at your future Social Security benefit, right? If I look at yours and your husband, will your husband, he'll get Social Security, right?
Yeah, he will.
Okay. But if I look at yours, like at your, let's say age 67, let's just do your first, like what would your 67 Social Security benefit be?
Last time I looked it up, it was around $3,500 a month.
Okay. So then let's look at this like very wide-eyed here. At your age 67, you guys are about the same age, right? We have not just the pension, but we have 2 Social Security checks. So, when you look at it, you have almost 10 grand a month coming in at age 67. And I know it's taxable, right? You're an engineer. You know these numbers. They look good. You're on track. You're great, right? We'll get back to Michelle in just a minute. If you would like to join us on the air, just go to JillOnMoney.com and click the Contact Us button. We'll do everything else. The Jill on Money Show will be right back.
401ks, IRAs, refinancing, she covers it all. Back to Jill on Money with Jill Schlesinger.
You're back. It's Jill on Money, and we are here trying to help you make better financial decisions. And we do that by encouraging you to go to our website, jillonmoney.com, and click the Contact Us button. Complete the form, let us know if you want to come on the air live, and we'll do everything else. Another thing you can do on the website is spend some money. It is the holiday time. How about buying the Great Money Reset for someone who is in your life who wants a reset, a way to change their trajectory, a way to turn chaos into opportunity? We have a link to buy the Great Money Reset, and you also can buy the Great Money Reset wherever you buy your books. One thing is clear from all the time that we've been doing this show, and that is that people are seeking different paths. And if you are one of those people or you know one of those people, I really encourage you to check out the book because it's a good guideline. It's a way to make big changes without blowing up your entire financial life. Okay, so right now, let's get back to Michelle. She is on the line from New York. The only thing we need to really consider, I think what you're asking is, should you be more focused on maximizing the taxation of all of these assets? I think that's what you're asking. Because obviously, right now, your top bracket will be 24%. And you live in New York State, so you're in a high tax state. The question that maybe is relevant here for everybody is that if you are on track and everything is going well, what is it that we need to really, what's the big unknown that we have to think about, right? So the big unknown for you is, where do tax rates go? Because, if tax rates go up substantially, you'll be like, darn it, I wish I had actually put all of my money into Roth. But, we don't know yet. But you're going to be still you're going to at least be in the 22% when you retire as your top bracket, at least, right? When you get to age 67. So it seems to me that you got this really interesting 5-year period between age 62 and age 67, where the only income that you will have is at that time, the pension, which is the $5,000 a month, right? And whatever side hustle income you and your husband decide you want to come up with. That may be a time where you start pulling money out of the pre-tax 401k to live on. Maybe just live on that. And then you're not worrying about converting or anything. You'll pull out whatever it is. Let's say it's $50,000 a year, $60,000 a year from your pre-tax assets. And you use that to finance you from 62 to 67. I kind of like that idea. I mean, it may be worth it to do that until you're age 70 and let your Social Security benefit accrue and get that extra 8% compounded. I don't know if you have to put way more money into your pre-tax. I'm fine if you said to me, what I'd really like to do, Jill, is, kind of pull back and put some more money in the Roth, maybe maybe instead of maxing out, you cut that in half, just do all Roth. It'll be a tax hit. You'll absorb it. And then add whatever money you can to the brokerage account just to give you some liquidity. But do know that your liquidity problem is solved in 5 years because you will be able to tap into these assets easily. And especially if you're willing to work, it doesn't seem like you have to make a huge change. Oh, I didn't ask you. So tell me about the housing situation. You guys own a home?
Yeah, we own a home.
How much is it worth?
It's worth about $450,000 and we have $230,000 left on it. The mortgage is 3.4%.
And you're going to stay in that?
Yeah, we like
house. Okay. No rental property. No anything else, right?
No.
Okay. I mean, I think you guys are in amazing shape. I really do. You don't have to contribute only to the match in your 401k, but maybe I would say like 10%, into the Roth and then put the rest in the brokerage, whatever it is that feels comfortable for you. I mean, it might be too much I don't want to go too crazy. You just have to get used to what it feels like in the cash flow when you're not doing the pre-tax. Okay.
Yeah.
And I like the idea of building up the brokerage, but don't fret too much because, again, if you're going to work to your 62 or 63, you keep building up, you will be able to pull money out of that traditional pre-tax retirement account, both you and your husband, that both of you have. You'll pull it out to the extent that you want to fund your cash flow. And that seems to me a great idea because, by the way, when you get to 67 or 70, you'd be golden.
Okay, that makes me feel really so much better.
Yeah, I mean, you're golden. Okay, so just last bits, estate planning done?
No. I am going to sign up for our legal plan at work with our benefits enrollment, so that we'll take care of that early in 24.
Fantastic.
That's a great benefit that we have.
Absolutely. So I'm going to encourage you to do that. By the way, because you already outed yourself as an engineer, I want to tell you that you don't need a fancy calculator to know the following. There is a 100% probability that you will die.
Oh, that's so depressing, Jill.
It just means you sign up for that benefit and get that estate planning done. All right. That's it. You're done. You're in great shape. So keep doing what you're doing. I like the idea of kind of moving to the Roth, build up that brokerage account, but be clear that the most important thing that you can do is to keep working. And then when you stop working, start slowly pulling money out of those pre-tax accounts to fund your cash flow. That's how you're going to limit what the actual impact of those required minimum distributions are. And by the way, RMDs are only going to start for you at 75. You have time to kind of whittle this down, which is a great thing. If you've got a financial question about where you're saving or how to make a change or what to do with the real estate market, we'd love to hear from you. Just go to JillOnMoney.com and click the Contact Us button. We'll be right back. You're back. It's Jill on Money, and we are here trying to help navigate your financial waters with you. Not telling you what to do, but laying out your options. If you need some assistance, just go to our website, JillOnMoney.com, and click the Contact Us button. Every so often, we like to do our emails as well, although, you know, I love talking to you live. And in fact, this email that I'm about to read really does beg for a conversation. So I'm going to answer this question from Betty, but I really would encourage you, Betty, to give us a holler because this makes me nervous. So here's what Betty writes. I am retired and I have enough money to live on comfortably. I would like to roll my Roth IRA into a gold account. I hear all the good things about doing this. Are you aware of any pitfalls in doing so? I am 75 years old. Oh, Betty, do I know about pitfalls in doing so? I need to know so much more information about you, but in the big picture, there is no reason to do this. If you would like to buy some gold inside of your Roth IRA, you can do that. You can buy a gold mutual fund. You can buy a commodities fund. You can even buy an exchange traded fund that invests in gold. But rolling over this money to own physical gold is probably not the right decision for you. Number one, I don't know if you've been watching too much cable TV or listening to too much radio. I love my radio salespeople, but there's way too many people selling gold. Yes, we can see that commodities have a place in a portfolio, but no more than, say, 2, maybe 3% of the overall amount of money you have invested. How much money are we talking about in this Roth IRA? And like I said, there are a lot of ways to buy gold efficiently as an investment without buying physical gold. So please, Betty, get back in touch with us. Don't do this until we talk to you. Please, please, please. Well, that about does it for the program. Our music is composed by Joel Goodman. Mark Talercio is our executive producer and king of all things web. We like to remind you, especially in this time of year, but every single weekend, to lift someone up. Change your work, change your wealth, change your life. Thanks for listening, and we'll talk to you next week.